Welcome everyone, my name is Andrew. This is Article 26, Competition. Section 1 provides language on protecting union work while in direct competition of USPS and other firms. Section 2 establishes a joint UPS-IBT competition committee. Section 3 makes clear that the origin local of subcontract feeder movement will have priority on any grievance filed against the subcontracted work. Section 4 Surepost outlines the Surepost system, process, and procedures. Section 5 DOT hours of service includes language on the 60/70 rule. Section 6 Removal of loads from rail provides language on UPS commitments to pull work from the rail for feeder drivers. If you want to skip ahead straight to the reading, go ahead and click on the timestamp in the description. Below, you can find a link to the UPS Teamster contract, or if you have not already, you can also download the UPS Teamsters app on Android or the Apple Store. This app includes the contract with a handy search function that allows you to find articles and sections immediately important to your situation. And I have also included a short link below to help you with installation. So this part of the contract has the first feeder protection language. Specifically, if you look in Section 1A, you will find that feeder drivers of over 3 years will not be displaced or laid off as a result of moving the run to rail. This is the first introduction of this language, by the way. Also, this article includes language on Surepost, which I really recommend you read. For example, Article 26, Section 4 includes the sentence, "The company agrees that it will not use Surepost as a basis to diminish the size of the bargaining unit." The section also further includes language that defines what packages are meant to be in the Surepost system, defining them as less than 10 pounds in weight and less than 3 cubic feet in size. So I recommend you check that out. Keep your eyes open. Hope you guys are having a great week. And let's get straight to the reading. Article 26, Competition. Section 1. The union recognizes that the employer is in direct competition with the United States Postal Service and other firms engaging in the distribution of express letter, parcel express, parcel delivery, and freight, both air and surface. In order to meet the competition and thereby protect and, if possible, increase the number of bargaining unit jobs, it is agreed that any provision in this agreement to the contrary notwithstanding, the employer, A, may use substitute means of transportation, such as airplane, helicopter, ship, or TOFC, in its operations, provided, however, that no feeder driver with more than 3 years of seniority in the feeder driver classification will be laid off or displaced from a feeder classification as a result of a run being placed on the rail. However, the employer shall not be required to remove loads from the rail to provide work for employees whose ground loads were eliminated or temporarily discontinued. Any claimed abuse of this section by any of the local unions shall be subject to immediate review by the National Grievance Committee. Merchandise that has been tendered by United Parcel Service to the railroad and moved by TOFC will not subsequently be moved by the railroad on the ground to its final destination. Any exception to the above language will be in cases of an emergency or cases where the railroad must ground the merchandise early to meet the company's service commitment. In these cases, every effort will be made to use UPS employees. The destination local union will be notified if UPS employees cannot be used. In order to expand the work opportunities for members of the bargaining unit, the employer will consider removing additional loads from the railroad or the other substitute means of transportation specified in this article. When the employer removes loads on other than a temporary basis, it shall notify the union of the number of new runs to be created as a result of moving such loads on the ground. Temporary shall be limited to 1 year unless there are circumstances beyond the company's control. The 1-year period will not be exceeded unless the UPS President of Labor Relations and Package Division Director mutually agree. Agreement will not be unreasonably withheld. The employer and the union shall agree on the most expeditious method to obtain additional personnel and/or equipment, if necessary, for the new runs to be operated by bargaining unit members. If the equipment or employees are not available, the employer may use subcontractors for a reasonable startup period not to exceed 30 days. The subcontracting can exceed 30 days with the union's agreement if there are problems obtaining additional personnel or equipment. Agreement under this paragraph will not be unreasonably denied by the union. All feeder positions created as a result of returning loads to the ground shall be counted toward the employer's obligation to create full-time jobs under Article 22.3 of this agreement. Bargaining unit employees will move scheduled TOFC loads from the rail yards to UPS locations except during peak season. During peak season, the employer will make every reasonable effort, in accordance with the appropriate supplement, rider, or addendum, to use current UPS employees and hire a sufficient number of employees to handle peak volume. After doing so, the employer may use alternate means of transporting packages during peak season and will utilize union carriers whenever possible. Plans to utilize outside carriers will be reviewed and agreed with the local union. Such agreement will not be unreasonably withheld. No seniority feeder driver will be removed from his bid run at peak and have that same route covered by an outside trucking carrier. Rescheduled routes, which may be covered by an outside carrier, will only occur if necessary to protect service. UPS shall provide its plan to the affected local union by October 15th of each year. This shall not preclude UPS from making subsequent alterations to the plan, which shall also be reviewed with the union. No package car driver shall be forced to use his or her personal vehicle to deliver packages. B. May drop loaded or empty trailers at locations designated by it, its customers, or consignees for customer or consignee loading or unloading. It is understood that customers and consignees will not move trailers for loading and or unloading other than on their premises. It is further understood that dropping and picking up these trailers shall be done by members of the bargaining unit. C. All loading and unloading of dropped shipments at UPS locations will be done by UPS bargaining unit employees. Section 2. A joint UPS IBT competition committee shall be created with an equal number of employer and union representatives. The committee shall meet upon written request by either party for the purpose of discussing and evaluating proposals which, if adopted by the committee, could create additional bargaining unit jobs, enable the employer to more effectively compete with other companies, implement new services and products, or change existing services. Nothing within this provision or agreement shall require the employer to offer or maintain any particular service or product. In addition, the joint UPS IBT competition committee shall have the authority to review line haul runs that may be proposed by UPS Freight to create a two-way run. UPS and the union also agree to review and approve proposed runs that may be inclusive of runs currently being performed by vendors. In the event the parties do not agree, the runs shall not be implemented. Section 3. Notwithstanding any other provisions of this agreement or any supplement, rider, or addendum, only the local union with its jurisdiction in the geographic area in which a subcontracted feeder movement originates or the Teamsters United Parcel Service National Negotiating Committee in its own name shall have the right to file or pursue a grievance alleging that the movement is a contractual violation. The destination local union shall also have the right to file a grievance protesting a subcontracted movement. If the local union where the movement originates files a grievance on the run, it shall take priority over any other grievance. Section 4. Surepost. 1. In order to retain existing commercial customers that are solicited by a competitor offering services similar to those described herein, or to attract new commercial customers, the company may offer services contracts that include the delivery of packages by the USPS. Packages eligible for such delivery will normally be less than 10 pounds in weight and less than 3 cubic feet in size. In accordance with paragraph 2 below, further, UPS agrees that the Surepost will not be presented as a general service offering except at UPS stores. This service will only be offered for shipping from a business to a residential customer. The company agrees that it will not use Surepost as a basis to diminish the size of the bargaining unit. 2. The company will continue to use technology that identifies 2 or more Surepost packages to be delivered to the same address and or any combination of Surepost packages and ground packages to be delivered to the same address. In such circumstances, all of the Surepost packages and ground packages will be delivered by the package drivers. The company will maintain and update the technology that identifies multiple addresses in close proximity to which any combination of Surepost and ground packages are to be delivered. The company shall meet with the competition committee to review any potential expansion of the volume to be redirected and determine if it is economically feasible to handle in UPS's operations. The company shall not deactivate or interfere with the operation of the technology that redirects Surepost volume to the company unless volume is being rolled in a building due to delivery constraints. In such event, redirect will only be deactivated for the affected buildings. The UPS President of Labor Relations or his designee will notify the union's Director of the Package Division of any deactivation. 3. The Joint UPS-IBT Competition Committee will meet on a quarterly basis to review the progress of this service and to discuss potential technological enhancements that will allow Surepost volume to be placed back in the UPS system for final mile delivery. Any issues or disputes related to the Surepost service that cannot be resolved by the Competition Committee shall be referred directly to the chairs of the union and the UPS National Negotiating Committees for the discussion and resolution. In addition, the union may notify the employer of any opportunities to include additional addresses. 4. If a driver or inside employee identifies a package designated for Surepost that is clearly more than 10 pounds and or larger than 3 cubic feet, the package can be removed from the system and redirected for delivery by a package driver unless the employer cannot deliver to the specified address. Section 5. DOT Hours of Service. The company shall not change the DOT's 60 hours in 7 days to the 70 hours in 8 days rule for package drivers, except at peak. With prior approval of the company's President of Labor Relations and Teamsters Package Division Director, the DOT standard may also be changed if required due to acts of God or emergencies creating service disruptions. When the company changes the 60-hour rule, it shall first solicit volunteers to work in excess of 60 hours from all package car drivers in the center. If sufficient volunteers cannot be obtained to cover the over 60 work hours, the company will force seasonal package car drivers, non-seniority package car drivers, part-time cover classifications, and then Article 22.4b drivers. Seniority package car drivers will only be forced after exhausting the seasonal, non-probationary drivers force process, part-time cover driver classifications, and 22.4b drivers. No regular package car driver red circled under Article 22.4b will be forced to work on a day off and exceed 60 hours unless he has a full 8 hours of duty available. Any regular or Article 22.4 package car driver who volunteers or is forced to work over 60 hours in a week pursuant to this paragraph will be compensated at double time for those hours. This paragraph supersedes any provision in any supplement, rider, or addendum which addresses this subject. This section is not intended to give the company the right to force seniority package car drivers to work on a weekend unless permitted by the applicable supplement, rider, or addendum. Section 6. Removal of loads from rails. In order to enhance the employee's opportunities to obtain a full-time job and improve the company's ability to reduce time in transit and improve service, the following provisions will apply. 1. The company commits that the number of new drivers needed to remove loads from the rail shall be at least 2,000 over the life of the current contract. The company shall be required to train or hire at least 200 drivers by December 31st, 2019, and 25% of the remaining needed drivers each calendar year thereafter. As long as the company satisfies these hiring training obligations, it shall have the right to cover these runs with substitute means of transportation. The employer shall provide the union a report identifying the loads covered by this section. The company shall meet with the union to resolve any issues which may arise if circumstances beyond the company's control preclude the company from training or hiring needed drivers in any area. The company shall train or hire a sufficient number of drivers to cover these runs by the end of the current labor agreement. 2. The company shall provide the package division director its initial plans to remove or cover these loads. In addition, upon request, the company will review with the package division director or his designee the company's progress in implementing this section. The review shall include the company's hiring and training of drivers to ensure that reasonable efforts are being made to staff the runs with bargaining unit employees and eliminate the vendors as soon as practical. If the company is not making reasonable progress in training the drivers necessary to replace vendors in any area, UPS's President of Labor Relations and the IBT Package Division Director shall have the authority to determine how and where training will be accomplished. 3. Article 43 shall apply to these runs except for the approval process. 4. No seniority employee in the feeder driver classification as of August 1st, 2018 shall be displaced from the classification or laid off as a result of the use of substitute transportation pursuant to this section.